Hello, I'm Stefan from Hey You Guys, and I'm joined here today by Anna Smith, and we're going to be talking about the biggest and best films coming out this August. And we're going to begin by talking about Peach Dragon.
That's a dragon.
A remake of the 1977 film. You've got the orphaned kind of protagonist, which we can liken to The Jungle Book or recently the BFG. And then you've got that relationship between a child and a sort of creature that people deem to be quite threatening, a bit like E.T.
Bryce Dallas Howard is a sort of park ranger who finds this little wild boy, doesn't know how he's grown up, how has he lived in the forest all this time on his own. Well, it turns out he wasn't on his own, he had a dragon for company. And the dragon is just this gorgeous CG creature with kind of moss-like sort of fur rather than scales, which I thought made him all the more cuddly, really. And it's all about this relationship between boy and dragon. And again, it reminds me of E.T. because there's a separation between the two of them. And then, will they be reunited? And will the government get involved with this creature, or should it be just set free?
In pursuit of a dragon! It's a dragon! You can't say dragon over the radio.
It just was so much fun and really rewarding as an adult, and I know that kids are going to love it.
And don't forget that Peach Dragon is part of the View Family Ticket, where all members of the family pay child's prices on any film with a 12A certificate or under this summer.
1, 2, 3, get loose now.
You ain't on my swag, you ain't on my swag, you ain't on my swag radar.
So Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates is out on 12th of August, and it is a comedy based on a true story, which I found absolutely fascinating. Stefan, tell us about the true story.
So Mike and Dave, played by Zac Efron and Adam Devine, are two brothers, and their sister's getting married. And their parents have said, look, that we don't want you ruining another big occasion for this family, so we want you to bring dates to the wedding. So they put up an advert on the internet to say, we need a couple of dates for this wedding. It's in Hawaii, all expenses paid. They may be expecting 6 or 7 applicants, and they have thousands. They have 2 applicants, which they do find very intriguing, played by Anna Kendrick and Aubrey Plaza. And they take them on to this wedding out in Hawaii.
So what I liked about this is that they kind of turn it on its head. The idea is that these guys have to take really sensible dates to keep them in check. So they're sort of posing as being very sensible. Once they get to Hawaii, have a couple of drinks, it all goes horribly wrong.
But one of the things that I kind of quite admired about this film is that the leading 4 characters are all really quite reprehensible and not very likeable, pretty much the whole way through the film.
I agree, and also from a female point of view, it's good to see 2 women behaving badly on screen.
And next up, we're going to be talking about Nerve, based on the Gene Ryan novel.
Welcome to Nerve, a game like Truth or Dare, minus the truth.
It's based on the idea that there's this game that people can play using their mobile phones, and there are watchers and then there are players, and Emma Roberts plays a player. She takes these dares on, and she teams up with Dave Franco's character, runs around New York City, chiefly at night time, sort of taking increasingly outrageous dares from the watchers who are kind of watching at home and paying money. So she's making money and sort of it's going into her bank account. What I liked about this is that her character is actually quite timid and quite shy in real life. So the idea is that this is a real challenge for her, and she's embracing this whole new world.
In regards to the 2 lead performances, I mean, Emma Roberts is obviously really turning out to be a really accomplished actress. And then Dave Franco, and I think they had a really wonderful chemistry, and I don't think the film would have quite worked without that.
Totally, absolutely. I mean, those 2 have to have a little spark.
Okay. Would you be a watcher or a player? I'd definitely be a watcher.
I'd
or maybe
be a watcher.
lurker. I don't think I'd pay. I'd just sort of be one of those people that just takes a step back in this instance.
Definitely.
But one of the things I really liked about this movie, because despite the fact it is very entertaining and at times quite kind of irreverent, but it is steeped in this quite sort of social political commentary.
Definitely, it's very current. I mean, you do see a lot of kind of social media-based films, which put text up on the screen, but I think this takes it a step further because, as you say, it is exploring the morality and the ethics of it. And there's a sort of sinister undercurrent to this as well. And it doesn't sort of let people off too easy, the people taking part. So, yeah, I liked it. I thought it had something to say.
It's cool, right?
He's back.
Christ, see you again.
Do you miss me?
So David Brent, Life on the Road is out on the 19th of August. Stefan, how excited are you about this one?
I'm so excited about seeing this film. I mean, I adored The Office when it sort of first came out on the TV. And what I love about the idea behind this movie is that it does kind of make sense that there would be a follow-up sort of 10 years down the line where he's touring. And that is the idea, obviously, in this movie where David Brent has got his guitar and he's taken to the road. initially I was a little bit kind of perturbed by the fact that Stephen Merchant isn't writing and there's no returning members of the original cast. I do feel that in some ways it might actually give this film a bit of freedom because it hasn't got that kind of obligation to abide by what sort of expectations that we once had, and it's just Brent kind of going out into the world as with a whole series of new characters, and I think that freedom could be quite beneficial.
What do you think is the enduring appeal of David Brent? Why do we still find it funny? Because I do, I just think he's terrific.
I think it's just because we all know someone like David Brent, and we will always know someone like David Brent. And I think that you never kind of lose that. It is someone that we recognise, and we know people like that. I really like the idea with this film is that I think because of David Brent's kind of quite subtle characteristics, you don't really feel this really needs a really strong story behind it. It is more reliant just on him being there, because being in his company is always enough.
Keep the noise down. Nah, turn it up.
Everyone is afraid of the dark, and that's what she feeds on.
And finally, we're going to be talking about Lights Out, which comes from producer James Wan, a sort of horror aficionado. This taps into a very quite primal fear, which is just being afraid of the unknown, afraid of the dark, which is something that every child, well, most children are kind of afraid of. And as we grow up, some adults, not myself, but sometimes, also afraid of too. I mean, this film looks to be steeped in kind of tradition, which is always, for me, a good sign of a horror movie.
Exactly. Things are lurking in the dark in this one. You've got Maria Bello and Teresa Palmer. The idea is when the lights go out, a very creepy woman appears. It looks absolutely terrifying. Great concept, great cast. As you say, The Conjuring, James Wan is behind it, so that's got a fantastic horror pedigree. There's a real consistency in the idea that every time the light goes out, this woman appears, so there's bound to be a lot of jumps, a lot of frights, and a lot for horror fans here.
All I know is that if I do see it in the cinema, I will be so thankful afterwards to come out and see the sunlight again, because it feels like the sort of film that's going to absolutely terrify me, but I like to be terrified.
Kiss my hand as a radio roared, boasting about his conquests abroad. Oh, your handsome, but you're weak. I glaze over when you speak. But man, he's off again in all his raging glory. And that sad story. Lay your love.
Well, thank you for joining us today, and please head to myview.com to buy tickets to all of the films we've discussed today and others, and don't forget to enjoy the big screen entertainment.